Back when I was growing up, my mom used to always say whenever someone in the family just did something completely off the rails, Mom would say, "Oh, that's so embarrassing. I sure hope the rest of the town don't think we're all that way." Or if someone went to speak on our behalf and got up there and just totally blew it, my mom would go, "Oh, I can't believe, why did we let them go talk? Why did we give them the microphone? Oh, they made us all look so bad." As I was watching this clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene on Australian TV, that's exactly what was going through my mind because it's one thing that we hear here at home, It's one thing we hear here in the United States. I'm in Tennessee, she's in Georgia, so we're not too far apart, actually. I actually drove through her district a while back when I was going to Athens. I passed through her district, and believe it or not, I stopped. I pulled over on the side of the road and Googled to make sure I was in her district because I saw this gigantic Confederate flag store. That's all it was just one big Confederate flag. And I said, I got to be in Marge's backyard. I just have to be. Sure enough, I was. And yeah, she's making Georgia, the South, and all of America look like crap. And she sure did it on Australian TV. So sorry, Mom. They gave Marge the mic. Here it is.
And tried to pervert the truth. He told the truth, and we appreciate him for that.
And if it doesn't go your way, if Biden wins, will you accept the result?
Again, what does this have to do with Julian Assange? Seriously,
it's the
really, that's what we're supposed to be
about
talking
truth. And why would I?
What network is this? What is this? ABC in Australia? Is she getting any marching orders from the Democrat Party? I mean, is this what you decided to come up with today?
You're a prominent figure in US politics. The first debate is tomorrow. The result of the election is on the minds not just of Americans but of the whole world. So it's a natural point of curiosity. But I understand that we've reached the end of the questions that you want to answer. Thank you for talking to us about Julian Assange and for joining the program.
Thank you. Good night.
You ever notice how MAGA never answers the question, will you accept the results of the election? And they act like it's some loaded question. They act like that we're trying to have a gotcha moment. No, that's not what it is at all. The reason why we're asking that question and the reason why people on Australian TV is asking that question is because the last time we tried to have an election, you guys threw a temper tantrum. You guys bought into every conspiracy theory you could get your hands on, and you went to the Capitol and started a riot. So that's why we're asking this question. It's like, hey, have you had any time to reflect on things? Have you had any time to think things over and realize that, hey, maybe you were wrong about that? And so have you grown up, and are you going to put your big boy pants on this time and your big butch body pants on this time? And are you going to at least say, yeah, we lost. Maybe we need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe we lost because our ideas are ancient. Maybe we lost because we took rights away from women. Maybe we lost because we have took this country back 100 years. They're never going to have that moment of reflection. They're never going to have that because everything is rigged against them now, including Australian TV. It's not just here at home. It's not just here at home. No, on Australian TV, that's rigged against them now. And the Democrats must be paying an Australian reporter to ask her that unfair question. It's absolutely a fair question. Anytime that an inmate goes in and he's up for parole and he sits down, they ask the question, do you think you've been rehabilitated? Do you still pose a threat to society? They ask them those questions for a reason. So that's why we're asking the question, Marge. It's because last time you guys threw a tantrum, and we want to make sure that you don't do it again. We really hope that you've grown up. We know you've not, but we're holding out hope that maybe you've grown up enough to go, hey, we'll go back to the drawing board, we'll come up with a better set of ideas, and we'll come back again in 2028. It's not going to happen, but that's what we would all love to see. Now, despite all of this, the one thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene that we really need to focus in on, because she's always going to throw little tantrums, and notice how she had to tear her microphone off at the end. She wanted them to see that, by the way. She wanted her people to see her. Oh, watch this. I'm going to pull this off. Normally, she would have sat there and waited for someone to come help her off with it. But no, she wanted to make sure that got in there so that everybody could say, Marge told him. But what we really got to focus on with Marge here is the bigger issues at hand, which is she says if they get back into power in 2025, that they want to completely gut and wipe away the FBI and the DOJ. Take a look at this.
Let me tell you something. Starting in January 2025, if we have control in Washington, D.C., we're going to end all of the bullshit that all of us are sick and tired of. We're going to wipe out these government agencies. We're going to gut them of all the resistance, Obama people, and we are going to clean out the Department of Justice and the FBI. And I just want to own that because I represent Northwest Georgia, and I want to encourage everyone I can. You guys, look, I know we hate the government. I hate them just as much as you do, and I actually have to work here in the cesspool of Washington, D.C. But we have a job to do. We have a country to save, and we cannot fail in November of this year.
See, this entire time, the argument from MAGA has been that we are weaponizing the government against them. We're trying to hold them accountable for their actions, and they don't want that to happen. So they say we're weaponizing everything against them. And if they get back into power, they're going to completely gut the FBI and the DOJ. So to everyone out there who says that I'm trying to spread fear and hyperbole when I simply point out Project 2025, there she is pulling straight from it. There she is quoting Project 2025, that they want to do away with those institutions. They want to gut them, and they want to have full control over them. Why? So they can never be held accountable for their wrongdoings, and so they can turn their wrath against everyone who disagrees with them. That's exactly what they're up. That's what they're about, folks. That's why this election is so important, and that's why it's even bigger than Donald Trump. Because one day Donald Trump will fade away. He will fade out of this equation eventually. He'll be a very bad memory that we will never get over. We will suffer for the rest of our lives in our brains for what he put us through. But after he's out of the political arena, you're still going to have the Marges of the world still sitting there hammering away. They're not going away. They didn't come this far to suddenly go, yeah, you know, we tried to take the rights away from women, and I guess we'll just have to give them back. I mean, we tried to do these things, but I guess we'll just have to give them back. No, they're going to keep doubling down, folks. They're going to keep coming after it stronger than ever. And Marge and her pit bull style of politics, it might be something that gets the good old boys in Georgia all riled up, and they may think, yeah, Marge is taking it to the deep state. But I think it's one of the most dangerous forms of politics that I've ever seen. Because if they regain power and they do away with the institutions that holds them accountable, then what do? How do we ever get the reins of that back? You think they're going to give it back? You think they're just going to hand it back over to us? There's never been a dictator that took over and held office for 24 hours and then said to his crowd, yeah, you can have your democracy back now. I just wanted to get a few things done. And even if that were the case, folks, that's not how things are supposed to be done in this country. So when we sit here every day, day in and day out, calling out MAGA, we do so because we care about American democracy. We do so because we care about what this country was founded on and the institutions that it was founded on, and we want to see people held accountable. And what I would like to see more of, we saw it starting. We saw some Republicans walking away, some Republicans endorsing Biden. Just keep coming out with that. Throw away this ridiculous, dangerous style of politics. Marjorie Taylor Greene should just have some little cult following somewhere, have a little podcast on the internet that some screw jobs, nut jobs turns into and says, oh, I've got something to listen to today. That's all she should be. She should not have a microphone in the United States Congress and not have influence and not have this big of a following. We have to keep calling this out because it's not normal. And we can't let them normalize it. And yeah, going back to what my mom said as a kid growing up, yeah, Marge went on Australian TV and she embarrassed the whole country. And she does every time she opens her mouth. Give Marjorie Taylor Greene a live microphone and just brace to be embarrassed because it's coming. She can't sit there and have a reasonable conversation. If you guys ever catch her having a reasonable conversation, and she actually sounds as though she's making sense or just being fair and reasonable, please send it to me because I have yet to see it because she isn't capable of it. She can't stand the thought of being wrong. And she can't sit there and say, yeah, I would accept the election results. She can't do that because she couldn't do it the first time and she doesn't have the guts to do it again. So that's what we're up against, and that's why we have to keep standing up for the truth and standing up for our democracy.